it's important to remember where the obturator nerve is and where the retractor number 3 is. Remember that this plate is going to come to lie lateral to the obturator nerve, and you can see where it's sitting now just lateral to the sacroiliac joint proximally. Up here it has to be medial to the stabilization pin in retractor number 3 here, so that's why we try to use the more lateral of the two pin slots so that our anterior column buttress plate can come up and lay down nicely just lateral to the sacroiliac joint, which is right here. That's the sacroiliac joint. There's our obturator nerve, so our plate has come in on the quadrilateral surface just lateral to the obturator nerve. Now, like we've discussed in the past, this is a buttress plate that has to buttress both the anterior column and the quadrilateral surface. The plate itself is not a reduction tool. We should have the posterior column, the anterior column, everything reduced before we're placing our neutralization plate here. Now, in order to ensure that this plate is going to be snug up against the quadrilateral surface to provide a good buttress to the quadrilateral surface in the posterior column, as well as being down for the anterior column portion, the easiest way to accomplish that is we're going to use the handle for the plate insertion to lateralize the plate and push against the quadrilateral surface. Then what we're going to do is we're going to follow with a screw in the plate right around the posterior arm here, so into this hole or the one just posterior to it, but we're going to drill that screw as eccentrically as possible on the lateral side of the hole so that as the plate is pushed down onto the bone by the screw head in the suprapectineal region, it also continues to lateralize and want to push the plate more lateral. So again, that first screw that comes in is going to be this screw back here by the posterior arm, drilled in an eccentric fashion to pull the plate laterally as it brings it down onto the anterior column or the suprapectineal bone.
By lateralizing and pushing the plate against the posterior column and quadrilateral surface, we're going to drill eccentrically and once the plate is down and secured in position, the plate insertion handle can be removed. Check to ensure that the obturator nerve is hanging freely, and then we can take another reduction forceps, and we're going to put this reduction forceps on the anterior aspect of the plate to bring it down onto the pubic body. Next, we'll come back and re-verify that the plate is flush on both the anterior column and the quadrilateral surface, as well as posterior column right there. We'll continue on with securing the quadrilateral surface portion of the plate or into the posterior column with screws into the posterior column just posterior to the acetabulum. In this particular plate, there are 3 holes in the posterior limb. One just above the ischial spine, one midway, and a third final one that's up here, just above the greater sciatic notch at the level of the sciatic buttress. Depending on the fracture pattern and the location of the fracture line, the surgeon has to choose which one of these screw holes and screw positions is going to be optimal. In this situation, we'll put a screw into the middle hole of the plate directed into the posterior column. We'll measure it again with the calibration and that's about a 28, so a 30 will be fine. We'll put the screw into the handle of the plate screw inserter and insert the screw and driver. And then remember, with the plate screw inserter, as the yellow line on the screwdriver approaches the handle, we have to then bring the handle back slightly so that the screw head does not capture the sleeve in the screw hole of the plate. We then back it up all the way, verify the screw position, and we can see that the screw is now in the posterior column of the plate. So this screw is now behind the acetabulum, or posterior to the acetabulum, which is over here, directed in the posterior column of the plate, posterior to the acetabulum. So you'll then follow with another screw closer to the sacroiliac joint, the most posterior aspect of the plate, and then gradually work your way along the anterior column with screw fixation into the pubic body and the superior pubic ramus.